Good morning. Happy Monday, ladies and gentlemen. It's kind of funny. Basically, right at the time I logged off on Friday was all the fun kind of started happening. Figures. That's usually how it goes. Usually just when you hop off, something crazy happens. But yeah, so Friday was a fun day, but I'll have to wait until some people actually get in here to break down everything that happened, which was really simple. I mean, Trump said something, market took it one way, and algorithms just pushed the market into a sell move, and that's pretty much it. So, yeah, when some people hop on, we'll cover it. Good morning, Steve. Good morning. Happy Monday to you. Yeah, I'm just writing up a quick email, and I will be on shortly. But in short, market's bearish. The 50 SMA trends all the way at $668.42. So until we're back over that, we would assume everything is a counterbounce, but not a bullish trend. So yeah, we'll get started in a second. Oh, there we go. Good morning, Petey. How are you doing, brother? Happy to see you this morning. Happy to see you. Hopefully you're doing good. Hopefully your family's well. Or your pet goldfish. One of the two, you know? Alright, cool. That email is sent. Yeah, we're gonna hang out a little bit, guys, until the chat room or the live stream populates a little bit more. That way, I don't have to repeat myself as much, I guess. So, until then, I don't really know exactly what to say because all my goods are soon to come. But let's start this morning by looking at some stock market news. Let's just get up to speed on what the peoples are saying in the world. Stock market news today. 21 minutes ago, Trump tariffs live updates. Trump downplays China tension. Goldman sees something. What do they see? Goldman sees consumers paying 55% of the costs. Cool. Appreciate that. Dow Jones futures rise as Trump says eternity before extra 100% tariffs. I don't know what that means. Trump new tariffs. JP Morgan chases $10 billion plan. Government shutdown. JP Morgan pledges $10 billion to U.S. companies essential to national security. So pretty much everything is Trump's fault, just as the headline of our stream suggests. Yeah, so Dow futures, Trump China, Trump China, Trump tariff, Trump China. All right, cool. So we're pretty much going to be living in the week of Trump China, Trump tariff until that passes and the market is no longer scared of that. Yeah, today's, the way the market's set up right now, it's kind of like a pretty much as long as it's below the pre-market high, the market remains bearish kind of thing. If we start to get acceptance over the pre-market high, then we'll be looking arguably to reset the markets higher, blah, blah, blah. But we'll get into all that here pretty soon. Good AVGO and OpenAI deal. Yeah, and I bet you know what? I bet the 50 SMA is like right here. Watch, let's see. 50 SMA right there. Yeah, let's see. What are the odds? It's like you don't even need to look at the chart to know there's a 50 SMA right there that is breaking out because it's like there. So yeah, pretty much what happened today. I mean, if that I haven't read the news, I'm just going off your word for it. So AVGO OpenAI deal. What happens? Someone knows, pops it up. 50 SMA news announces. The market goes into a buy signal, and there's pretty much like a bull flag, right? That's pretty much up bull flag into 50 SMA breakout, right? Yeah, I mean, that one's pretty clear, right? You can see that one's clear as day. Up, down, 50 SMA, breakout, long. But yeah, that's interesting. Would probably... Yeah, so we'll probably, I don't know. Yeah, I mean, pretty much the story goes, if the algorithms want it higher, they'll run it up. So you could be long here, but your stops are going to have to be all the way below 338.64. So that's like $20 a share down as your stop right now. So that's kind of a tough one. Yeah, right now, let's see, stock market's just grinding up, grinding a little higher. There are some long targets. I mean, pretty much, we got 4 people in here, and that's good enough. It's probably not going to be too much more popular than that today. Yeah, what was I going to say? Yeah, so we'll just cover where the market's going to go real quick, and then we'll be pretty much done. All right, so what's going to happen? Again, don't know, other than if market starts to get above pretty much pre-market high and blue volume weighted average price, then we start to run the risk of triggering a squeeze and a reversal all the way back to 66842. Vice versa, if market fails to break out, blah, 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 then arguably we're going to just roll over. So the blue line you see on the screen, not the one off the low, that one's really not even meant to be there. So pretty much volume weighted average price from this high would be tracking our 30-minute VWAP sell signal, yada, yada, yada. So pretty much the way this works is the market is bearish in a sell move, oversold. This is an oversold reversal back to the volume weighted average price of our current selling volume trend. If the market maintains below this VWAP, whether it does it cleanly or kind of choppily up here, the market remains bearish. The market even remains bearish as long as it's below this level up here too, right? But it's just, that's pretty much it. So you have that up to there, slash down below. So the 50 SMA is all the way here. It's up here, 50 SMA, boink, boink. So that's the SMA trend that the market remains bearish below. But where we're at right now is the VWAP trend of the current sell move, which is a secondary level that we watch in a sell signal to be bearish around and also bullish if it breaks above. So again, you have SMA trend. That's a lot of yellow on there. You guys probably don't even really know what I'm. So we'll just do this a little differently. We're gonna go oh, that ain't right. Text 50 SMA. There we go. 50 SMA trend, bearish, bearish below. And then this is VWAP trend. So VWAP trend of current sell move, or well, sell operation would be better. A bearish below. All right. So those are two levels, and so those are the two levels in any buy signal, any sell signal that we always watch, right? So pretty much the way this works is market goes into a sell signal, great, oversold, reversal, counter long reversal in a bearish market, big bounce up. And this is the VWAP where we generally like to see the markets for a legit sell move. Then the markets would be bearish here and just go get whacked, right? So that would be it. If this is a legit sell move, generally the markets would see great resistance and sell way off, right? The flip side is if it's a shitty sell move and it doesn't really have legs, then this is going to be arguably a stop out for some short sellers, and then this creates a squeeze long back to the 50 SMA. So it's kind of one of those things where you're at a key volume level that can continue the sell move in the immediate and or cause a reversal squeeze back to the 50 SMA trend that still dictates overall if the move is bearish or bullish. So you can think of the 50 SMA trend as the be-all, end-all, positive, bearish, trend level change. And you can think of the VWAP as it is right now is this is your volume weighted average price, momentum sell level down. And if no selling is triggered there, it then, once accepted above, becomes the squeeze level. Generally speaking, if your levels are always over-unders, right? But yeah, so that's it. That's pretty much it. Market's in a sell move. Market is theoretically in a bearish trend. Right now, we're at the volume-weighted average price over-under of this entire sell move. So, and then something else to consider for any of you guys that are ICT followers or whatnot, there's a 30-minute fair value gap right there. Okay, so you can see how if we break over the VWAP and then keep grinding up, then you enter the fair value gap where generally prices can move a little easier. So you can already see how the market would be set up to squeeze back to the 50 SMA just based off of all these little things. So yeah, that's pretty much it. Hopefully you guys made sense of that and you can use that. And we'll get through this trading day. Let me bring down the volatility index. Happy bear market, brother. Yep, happy bear market. How's it going? Yeah, so down to the VIX. So VIX is pretty straightforward. It's going to be the same thing as it. Again, the analysis here will literally never change. So pretty much right now, VIX is broken out, obviously. And now the 50 SMA trend's all the way down at 1765. So let me look at the 1 hour. Yeah, that's all the way down there. Okay. So volatility trend is very far off. So pretty much what's going to happen, or if the market wants to keep going down and yada, then the VIX is just going to have to just find support and blow up. Otherwise, what we're going to see is VIX sell. It probably, I don't know, we'll see, but essentially that's the target, right? So whether the VIX sells down to there or the volume weight or the SMAs calculate higher is irrelevant, right? So what's going to happen is we're basically going to need to see the 50 SMA on the VIX catch up to price, yada. So we kind of have a little bit of time to wait before I think the VIX is, going to be seeing levels that actually matter to us. Right? If you look at the volatility index from Friday, and that was like just before I got off, or just after I got off, everything started moving, of course, right? But anyways, you guys know that the breakout on the VIX was all the way back, back down here. So on Friday around $16.70, $16.60, that's where the VIX, or wait, no, sorry, it was around $17.10. That's where the VIX started to break out. So, yeah, just anyways, I mean, we have a lot of room for the 50 SMAs on the VIX to catch up. The market is in a sell move. The market is bearish because it's below the SMA. And when I say bearish, that's just, yeah, we're SMA trend bearish. Do we get bearish selling in the immediate? We'll see. Pretty much I'm remaining bearish as long as the market remains below the pre-market high today. My optimism for bearishness is still there. If we start to break up and through that, then I might change that bias. But that's pretty much it. So I'll be optimistic that the market's going to roll over into a nice short until the market gets back up above levels that this downtrend has created. That would then create kind of a squeeze. Good morning, Rico. How are you doing? So now that we're all probably pretty much up to speed on that, I'm just going to hop back into yesterday's or the last trading day's action just so we can kind of cover some of the other goods. All right, so let's go to a 1 minute. Oh, I have to go back to here. 1 second. Yeah, let's go all the way back up here. So that would be the breakdown. All right, so we're going back to last trading day's action. All right, and we're going to just go up here. So, there it is. All right, so as we always say, market is bullish above the 50 SMA, market turns bearish below the 50 SMA. Obviously, this one was accompanied with Trump and tariff, and clearly the markets and algorithms clearly wanted to sell the markets down off of Trump, tariff, whatever. Was it overdone? Probably. So clearly the markets just used Trump's words to operate a good sell trend. Again, I don't really think it's Trump's fault. I don't really think it's what he said. I don't really think anyone truly actually, as far as the market is concerned, in like actual health of markets, at the end of the day, I don't really think anyone actually cares about his 100% tariff talk or whatever. If the market wants to go down, it's going to go down. We just simply use Trump's China tariff tweet talk as the catalyst to do it. So that's just it. We just used what he said as a catalyst to move markets, but it's not the be all end all. Arguably, that's why, again, you've already seen the markets bounce up so much, right? If you look at today, right? If you look at today, I mean, look at markets practically recovered most of that drop already, right? So how is it that, just Friday, Trump was going to ruin the world, but now he's only going to ruin 50% of the world, right? So, like, how did that change so quickly? It's because no one actually really cares. It just has to do with the market and the levels and momentum up or down. And whatever is being said in today's news is just going to be what we use to move markets one direction or the other. So don't get caught up on the news. It really doesn't even matter at the end of the day. The only thing you use it for is like a little bit of psychology and maybe a little bit of bias to help you on a day. But other than that, it's to be forgotten shortly after. All right. So from Friday, the 50 SMA is basically where the arrow's pointing, right? So that was the 50 SMA. I'm going to delete that, and we'll just clean this up a little bit. All right, so pretty much what's that mean? So markets broke down at the 50 SMA, so the market is bearish. Then you anchor your VWAP at the breakdown to track the volume weighted average price of that sell move, of that breakdown. That gives you your expected resistance entry counter pop level right there. So that's where if you wanted to participate bearish during the Trump thing after the sell move, you either had to be participating at the breakdown of the 50 SMA or before it, and then you would have had to enter at the VWAP break there. And then the rule basically says you can remain short the market as long as the 50 SMA 1 minute VWAP does not break above. So as long as the market's maintaining below that blue VWAP, then you're not going to reset the market in a big bounce. You've been down, 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 down. All right. We don't necessarily, I mean, we're actually getting above it right now, but I use it mainly for the day of. Now that it's kind of a day past, it's a little, less important. But yeah, I mean that's pretty much that was yesterday. So you could have removed pretty much 95% of all of the trading day confusion. You know, with this break, if you just there's your 50 SMA, that's the breakdown. Anchor VWAP, be bearish into VWAP down. That's it. That's literally was the play on Friday. Obviously, I got off just before that. I was not actually looking at the markets when that all started. Just kind of peeked back later. I'm like, oh, Bitcoin's crashing to our sell target. That's crazy. And then I realized the whole entire market crashed. So we're basically just using Trump's words on Friday to sell markets. Obviously, if you guys go look at Bitcoin, we've hit the current sell target. We actually went past it. Not that I expected that by any means. I really did not. But we'll get into it. So the current long targets, this box, I already posted a YouTube video about it. We already pretty much did 60% of that counter long move back up. So on, what was that, Friday or Sunday or Saturday? I don't even remember. But whatever day that was, Friday, everything crashed. But through the weekend, if it was Saturday or Sunday, I forget. But pretty much on the low here, we suggested the markets are going to be looking for longs back to there. And it's not that the market was looking for longs back to this box. It's just the market was looking to retrace VWAP. So wherever the VWAPs are at, that's where the box is at. So it's just, you know, so Friday, Saturday, Bitcoin crash, everyone's panicking. That's the perfect time to start looking the opposite sometimes. But so yeah, counter targets pretty much back to there for now. Prior to this counter long, we were bearish analysis on the markets for Bitcoin. So before the Trump thing, before this entire market got smoked, all right, you know, this is pretty much what it was. Back here, down, we were bearish. Then we were bullish. Then once we were here, we were bearish. And then this did not break down, so we flipped back long. And then we were bearish up here. And then down here, we're back long. Let's talk about that a little bit. All right, so real quick, we're going to go back to this previous high back here somewhere. We got 19 people in here. Perfect. All right, so this is pretty much how we've been, to a degree, painting. And when I say painting, that's what I mean. For the past couple weeks on Bitcoin, this is pretty much how we've been able to some degree, paint the chart, aka make the price action you're seeing on the chart. So if we go back to this high here, let's anchor a volume weighted average price there. Settings, low, high, cool. All right. Go back there, and we're going to go back to like this break right here. So if you take the previous high here and take the breakdown there, you're pretty much going to catch that lower high in there. So that's a lot of times what we look to do with Bitcoin is we anchor lows and highs to give us future lower highs or higher lows, all right? So let's reverse the process here. We're going to take a VWAP. Now we're going to anchor to this low down here. Settings, low, yada, yada, yada. All right, now we're going to anchor to that low. And this candle here. And so now what you see is, you know, this top is a little goofy. And it's really this candle, but ultimately anchor tops, that's your bearish trend down, right? So down, counter long target, into resistance down. Oh, by the way, watch this. Ready? We're going to take one more VWAP. Well, no, we're just going to take the previous. Ready? Watch this. So you see how market goes down, pops up, hits VWAP, and then it rejects. That's where you start anchoring the daily VWAP to that lower high. And that's going to give you your next daily lower high. So 1 second, settings, low, high. All right, let's take that off in there. All right, so once this lower high is created, we anchor VWAP there. So when the market goes down, Connor posts a YouTube video and goes, hey guys, you're all bearish. We're going to look to do what? Take the market long, back to VWAP. And then if we find resistance, you'll see down, right? So flip the script. What happens? Market bottoms here, rallies up a little bit. So we start anchoring lows. What do? Higher low into VWAP, pop up, etc. Right? So we were applying that same exact strategy over the past couple weeks here with this market low here and this, etc. Right? I'm going to take off some of these old ones real quick, because I don't want to get everyone super confused with all these VWAPs. So we're going to take those off, and there we go. All right, so now over the past week, right, look at this entire long move was going up. Posted the video about it, said, everyone's so bullish, that's great, but we have not tested any of their volume weighted average prices off this entire long move. So what are we going to do? So at the highs, we said, hey guys, look for the markets to pull back to. 1 second, let me add one more VWAP so I can get the proper price of this box. 1 second, cool. So right, this would have been pretty much the box, right to there. So when Bitcoin was rallying up, you guys will know because you were watching my live stream from last week, we said pull the markets. Bitcoin, our target pullback is down to here, T1, and down to here, T2. So that's as far as we expected Bitcoin to pull back for the moment. Why? Because the volume weighted average prices off the low are arguably where we would look to do what? Build a higher low. So if that's an area to build a higher low, then I'm not going to be looking to be bearish below that point until proven that a higher low doesn't want to be built. Same example back here, ready? So if we were bearish, right? So we're going to go off the high here, settings, 1 second. All right, so pretty much put it this way, right? So market goes down. So obviously the market's moving bearish, right? If we were long bias off this low, we would say we are only long up to here, but no further for now. Why? Because this could very well be the lower high expected creation point. So then rather than trying to break through it, we would look to be trading in the direction with it. Okay? But if no lower high is made, then yeah, arguably we would go higher. So when we fast forward to where we're at now, all right, we just had a higher low expected area about like right there or something. Okay, actually it's from here to here. All right, so arguably Bitcoin could have held somewhat of a higher low right here. Okay, if we zoom in, watch what happens. Where does the market really get clapped? Right, so where did the market really get clapped on Friday? It got clapped as soon as you broke down the zone that I had presented on the screen. Now, why is that? Because this whole zone is the daily volume weighted average price higher low expected creation zone. If no higher low is made, that's not good. So everyone, including me, and now all of you that knew and now know that this is how we would create a expected daily higher low price point. If no daily higher low commences, then everyone does what? Stops out. And there's your drop. Why? Because we now know if we're not holding this daily VWAP zone, we're failing at creating a higher low on the larger daily time frame, aka clapped. Granted, it was really built off the back of the Trump stuff, right? So we were always, right, with Bitcoin this past week, right, before Trump talked, before, you know, all these insider short, this, that news that's going on with Bitcoin this past week, when we were trading up here, we were always going to pull it back to that VWAP. It was always going to go back to that VWAP at some point. Right, so we were already pulling the markets the way we wanted down to the daily higher low expected area. And then Trump comes out with some China tariff, this, that, along with insider shorting and all this craziness. And then the market just gets clapped as we break that VWAP zone. So as the buyers figure out there is no daily high or low being developed here, clapped, right? Not only that, you have to think about look at the Bitcoin chart from the last week, right? It was just straight up. So everyone, there was a lot of people long in there. Everyone's so excited. Market's going straight up. The news was pumping to everyone. Uptober. You remember that? You remember like 2 weeks ago, like a week. Uptober's here, everyone. Get ready. Uptober's whacked, right? So another perfect example of how the news is just very, very much an enemy of the people sometimes. So that being said, where are we at now? We're doing the same exact thing as we just did, besides Trump tweeting, which is what? Ready? Here we go. The entire market is down. Trump tweeted something about China. There's insiders shorting it. The world's going to end. Oh my goodness. So we look up. VWAP off high. Here. Breakdown. Blah, blah, blah. Where is the volume weighted average price for the current daily chart after that sell leg? It's that box. So what does that mean? That means, generally speaking, we look for the bearish leg to eventually stop and slow down. It then bounces and usually goes to its daily VWAP zone, and this would be our expected lower high creation point. If there's no lower high made, then sure, maybe we go higher. But that's the way we think. We think in terms of lower lows, right, or higher highs. And the VWAPs are areas where we look to create and develop those lower lows, lower highs in the chart, and that's arguably how we paint and or make the chart patterns to a degree. So, yeah, that's pretty much it. So with Bitcoin, as far as short-term trading and stuff, the market is bearish below these VWAPs off this high. Once we get above, then arguably we're going higher. But for now, anything starting from down here and up is just counter bouncing, right? So we look at these moves as counter longs back to resistance, right? That's generally how we view that. So those are the current kind of counter targets along with resistance start points, all right? I do have to say the flip side, which is sometimes the VWAPs don't hit immediately, or like I'm saying right now, this target doesn't hit immediately, right? It's possible the market could stop here and then it could go lower, and then next week these VWAPs calculate to say here, and then our target would be here because those VWAPs are still untested, right? So does that make sense? We're looking at the volume weighted average prices of legs in the market, okay? And wherever those VWAPs are at, as long as they're untested, they're always a target, all right? So whether we counter long the market here and test them, or fall out and test them 3 weeks later, they're always going to be a target. So so that's it. It depends on if they've been tested or not tested. If not tested, they're open for business. Okay? So, yeah, that's that. I know that was a lot to take in. Market's about to open. Let's get back to the SPY. That was important because now you guys could probably read the Bitcoin market better than 95% of the planet. Oh no, what's going to happen here, folks? What's going to happen? Oh no. I have no idea what's going to happen. Because well, not that I have no idea, but let's just use our brain for a second. So there's 30-minute volume weighted average price off the high. So that's that. Yeah, okay. Cuckoo. So we already did that. All right. Yeah, I mean, this is a situation where the market for a big long move is going to have to break out. So, like I said before, I mean, the likely expectation is markets honestly probably want to maybe test up to the pre-market high, but ultimately, as long as the markets maintain below the box that I'm drawing on the screen, we're going to remain on the bear side. we probably won't see aggressive breaking out like momentum unless the market obviously goes up and above those said levels. So again, just pretty much sitting back, neutral and bearish the market right now. When I say neutral, I mean neutral in the sense that I'm not swing long the market currently. When we go back into a buy signal, then we'll go back to swing long, etc. Again, so market's going to trade up here into the 30-minute VWAP and arguably up into, close to pre-market high. When I say pre-market 30-minute VWAP, again, that would be the start of this box, like right there. So we'll zoom in a little bit. So that's your pre-market 30-minute VWAP there. And then obviously up here is the current 30-minute sell signal volume weighted average price. So again, markets pretty much need to have resistance here to stay down. Otherwise, we're just going to be rallying up straight to that zone. It's not even, well, not that zone, but that price point. So that's pretty much how that market's set up. Oh, Medi, you're not late, brother. You're perfectly on time. You're perfectly on time to watch the market. Probably, I don't know. We still got to get through the volume weighted average price of this this pre-market move, and then arguably start triggering some more long stuff up. I'll get into the 1 minute so you guys can see this a little bit more clean. So see how the market is starting these wicks. Not that that's going to last. I'm just emphasizing. So you see how right at the volume weight, see this red line? I mean, this is it right there. That's the VWAP. So this right here, this high, this tag, this is the 30-minute VWAP of pre-market high. That's why I just said, in order for the markets to really push off along, it has to be above that. So if we go back to the 30-minute, right, you see how we're creating the wicks here? The wicks on top of these 30-minute candles. Again, it's not that that's going to hold indefinitely, but again, you can see that we first done what? We press up into 30-minute pre-market volume-weighted average price high, right? So this is the resistance trend for pre-market, right? So if the pre-market, sellers want to remain, without getting stopped out, they want to roll it below that, right? Vice versa, if they don't hold the resistance, when I say they, it just means everyone that's participating bearish. If they don't hold it, then they get squeezed to there. So, so that's really how the market's set up right now. Is from, well, let me do it more like this. Okay, that's how I would read that right now. Meaning that the 30-minute VWAP of the pre-market high is our start point, right? Which is, it's a counter target. We bring the market back up. We test resistance. If resistance is good enough, then we just roll the markets back down. If resistance isn't good enough, we have to squeeze it up higher. So for right now, the short-term trading market is allowing us to basically move the market bearish off that 30-minute VWAP zone for the time being. That is a beautiful short starting right at the 30-minute volume weighted average as well, pretty much suggested. And when I say as suggested, right, you guys just have to know, like, as you sit in these streams, I can't say everything always, but the more you sit in and you kind of learn a little bit about these systems and approaches, the rules never really change, right? So, for example, every single day, when you're coming into a 30-minute VWAP, as we're showing here, they're always used in this fashion, exactly as I'm drawing it on the screen, right? So if you're below the 30-minute VWAP and you're coming into, it's resistance into. If above, then squeeze up, right? That's how that game goes. Vice versa, if If it was a bullish move, it would be the same thing. As price comes down into 30-minute VWAP, you look long. If fail, then short. No, we don't. Yeah, after the first 30 minutes it's not a rule that I or my business partner Brandon or something that we teach for trading. Obviously being patient and waiting for setups is one thing. But we don't look at you got to wait the first 15 minutes to trade, or you have to wait the first 30 minutes or whatnot. That's not something that we really preach, because important levels can hit at any point in the market whenever it wants, which is obviously, irrelevant of waiting that 5 and 15 minutes. So I'm sure it works for a lot of people, and I know there's 15-minute open range strategies, ORB strategies that people love and work great, right? So there's a bunch of different approaches, but no. See, for example here, right, we hit resistance. Let's see, 1, 2, 3, 3 minutes into the day. So 3 minutes into the day, we hit resistance you could be trading off of, right? So we even hit that resistance in the pre-market session too. So in the pre-market session before the open here, we hit the resistance as well. So that was tradable resistance. This was tradable resistance. So we've had already few tags of trading opportunities there. So no, don't got to wait 15 minutes and things like that. Let's go look at the Qs real quick, see how she be doing. Q's going down. I mean, not going down, but it's, it's decent. We'll go look at some market internal stuff. Honestly, market's really not even, I would say market's honestly not even that bearish. Yet. Let me rephrase that. Yet. Okay? I know someone's gonna be like, well, Connor said it wasn't that bearish. I mean, yet, right? You're seeing, when you look at the NASDAQ, right, and you look at the SPY, you've seen some bearish movement, but is the market really bearish? Not really. Why? Because look at the market internals. Right? The NASDAQ 100 started a little green and then got a couple red candles. The entire NASDAQ is only so far printed oh, that's a 5-minute chart, so it's more than that, sorry. Hold on. This one's printed. All right, this is starting to print some red, right? But if you look at the Magnificent Seven, which are the middle left screen, there's really not that much. Let's see. Yeah, if you look at the Magnificent Seven, they've had a couple red, now bouncing. The volume for the market's up. So this is a situation so far where even though the market's kind of bearish because we're in a sell move, we don't yet have that full-fledged selling of equities into the market just yet since the open. It's just there's a little bit there, but not enough for that. Just the entire world's gonna sort of end thing. Does that happen? Again, I don't know. I just sit here and read what's in front of my face. I can't tell the future. I mean, to a degree. Actually, you can kind of tell the future in stocks a little bit, but not all the nuances. So it just depends, right? If the markets really start to pick up selling here across equities or not. If so, then markets will go down. If not, then we're going to probably change course here. But we'll see. We got to give it some time. When I say change course, guys, we're not changing to bullish swing trading bias by any means. We're not even close to doing that. We're so far from that even being in the realm of possibilities. Okay? Nowhere on planet Earth should anybody today be thinking, oh, the market swing long. Not even close. Oh, yeah, you guys are probably bored of looking at that screen. We don't even really need it. But I'm going to keep this to the side. I'm going to keep looking at it. We got a lot of selling in the NASDAQ, but the FANG aren't really selling. So if the FANG starts selling, then the Qs will probably continue down. That's what you need right now. You need more selling in the Magnificent Seven See, like Google's still up, so Google's kind of one of those stocks that if that starts to give up, Apple's already given up. Nvidia hasn't really given up, but it's also not really bullish. So again, that's one of those things. Like, well, so you're kind of reading which stocks can the markets use to continue moving them, right? So if we want things to go down, Google has to start participating to the downside. Tesla would have to start participating a little more. It's hardly going down. Netflix kind of started down. Amazon's not really going down. It's kind of like meh, right? So we're just not getting the participation levels needed for extreme selling right now because we don't have a lot of the Magnificent Sevens selling. Does that change? Maybe. Does it not? Don't know, right? I don't know who's going to be buying and selling all these stocks in real time. All we can do is just look at the markets and read them the best we can. That's also why I look at this screen here. Like I said, I look at all the markets at once. I look at the S&P. I'm looking at the New York Stock Exchange, Magnificent Seven, NASDAQ 100, and the overall NASDAQ, right, to give me a better gauge. So the gauge right now is that we're slightly leaned bearish, more so than bullish. Those can all change pretty quick, though. So, you know, take it with a slight grain of salt there. All right, let's get, what was it gonna do? I don't know. Let's go look at Bitcoin. What's Bitcoin doing? That was weird. Quick pump and then a drop. All right, so we've had our first initial rejection at the 30-minute VWAP. So the pre-market traders and kind of pre-market trend had its opportunity to be bearish, obviously coming into that 30-minute VWAP first tag roll down. Now you've got to be careful with and if price comes up through 30-minute VWAP zone, because that would arguably be a stop out price for a lot of the traders from the pre-market session. So pretty much the way this works is our optimism is that as long as market maintains below here, then you're not going to see the full-blown kind of shoot to the upside. But ultimately, that's just it. So we've already had a good rejection sell move at the 30-minute VWAP. Now we'll see what happens. Do we double top, stay below? Again, you be my guest. Don't really care. That's just how the market's positioned. Cheers to the 29 of you guys tuning in and watching today. I appreciate you guys. Thank you very much. If you want to go ahead and hit the like and subscribe button, would appreciate that. It does help the channel, helps it grow, helps the YouTube algorithms. And yeah, hopefully you guys all had a really good weekend. I hope your guys' family is in good health. I hope you're in good health. Specifically the mind, because all good things start with a healthy mind. So yeah. Cheers to that, and let's all have a good week, productive week, and hopefully a healthy week. Oh yeah, well, we'll hold off on that. I was going to say some good news, but still not, there could be some recourse there, but we'll see. I don't want to jinx myself, but arguably some good news, some things taking place in my life right now, but we'll hold on to announce that one. All right, so pretty much 30-minute VWAP, a pre-market high, still holding that trend down. Not allowing the markets to move higher for the time being. The usual Trump tariff taco market. I have never heard of that one, but I'm definitely going to have to keep that. The taco market. No one has a better market than I do. You hold on, you want to see me wipe 2 trillion off the market? All right, Trump tariffs 100%. My market's the best market. just completely clapped everyone's accounts. Appreciate it. You said you want to go broke? No problem. Here we go. Trump tariff dynasty. Here we go, baby. Oh, you said it's hard to afford groceries this week? Let me make it better. Blow up your 401k. Oh gosh, gotta love it. Oh boy, good stuff. Anyway, so like we said, folks, we're just chilling. We're below the 30-minute volume weighted average price of today's market. There's going to be no good long pop breaker magoo until minimum we pretty much start getting through that. So let's see. What is on the economic calendar for today? I have not looked yet. Monday, Philadelphia Fed President Anna Paulson speaks. No one really cares. We love you, Anna, but at the end of the day, the market, honestly, will move whatever way it wants, regardless of what you're going to say, most likely. Medi Shea, good morning to you, even though you've already been here, but good morning. 30-minute VWAP, a pre-market high, still doing the good old jam, which is what? Which is just holding its resistance and not allowing a little bit of a breaky poo. Obviously, you guys already know all of these little dips you're seeing on the screen can all be tracked by 1-minute VWAPs. There should be no confusion why the markets are dipping and popping where they are. Ready? 1-minute VWAP on this low. Ready? Ready? Watch. Oh, so that's why it popped. Okay, there's the pullback, and then okay, ready? Where is the market holding right now? Ready? 1-minute VWAP. Oh my gosh, so confusing. So right now the market is just doing a little bit of a staggered higher low step on 1-minute VWAPs, right? So that's why we're, basically pulling the market back to where we're doing it and holding support where we're supporting. Literally, this is the same strategy we use for Bitcoin, right? It's just on daily charts. Now, hopefully, me streaming a lot of this stuff won't cause it to lose its effectiveness, which it might. I don't know. We'll see. And if it does, so be it. All good. We'll just find something else that works. So again, right now, market just working its way up into the pre-market high. Like we said before, once you get above that, that's generally, I would assume, where some good long pressure is going to start. All right, we're pressing into the 30-minute pre-market VWAP high. If you've been bearish, you have to be careful because this is where you're more likely to get squeezed and we're more likely to take the long up. And if we do end up successfully breaking up, then we should expect we're going to, like I said, the high side. So that's kind of it. With a successful break, we go to the high side of this box next. Let me double check a couple things too before I say that and realize it's wrong. Actually, wait, hold on. I got that. Wait a second. Something's off. Oh, duh, because that's in the pre-market. Got it. Yeah. So, well, no, there's two ways to look at that. That's actually, hold on. I gotta go back. So that is correct. That's the pre-market 30-minute. Gotcha. And then the regular trading hours would be right here. Sorry, I actually made a slight mistake this morning. But it's pretty much, yeah, it's pretty much this. Market is still bearish. VWAP stuff as long as it's below that box in there. So I'm going to change the color of this one real quick to make that yellow. And then we'll make the inside orange. All right. Blue. Yeah, sure. All right. I'm gonna close that guy out. Don't really want it. Yeah, so pretty much there's another VWAP level in here that I should have had on the screen already. So arguably our long move at this point is going to be up to here and then arguably up to here next. All right. And that's all based off of, well, markets have to obviously stay going on. It's just whatever. I'm just not even going to talk anymore. I don't want to say too much because then it's just like, well, it could do this, could do not. Just basically, if we end up holding above the 30-minute VWAP stuff, again, those are the two targets are on the screen. That's what you can expect. Wait a second. What? Oh, yeah, I'm a knucklehead. I get it now. Keep making that same mistake, I'm like. But anyways, yeah, so market doing okay, just moving up. Probably going to knock down, again, those two targets. Again, I'm assuming that's what the market's going to try to do is run up, as high as that yellow box too next. So pretty much pre-market high stuff. Again, still going to have to get up through that price of 66248, blah, blah, blah. But you get the point. Really miss you on Discord. Oh, I'm sorry, homie. I mean, this is better. It's all live. It's on YouTube. You know, it's great public service for the internet. And I enjoy streaming on YouTube, honestly, more than... oh, well, I guess you could say streaming on Discord is more than fun than working in a Discord, if you will. But I enjoy it. Yeah. Oh, you can still send me a private message. I'm on Discord, right? That wouldn't stop you from doing that. I think you're in our chat room, too. Just an FYI, I will have to leave today around like 11-ish, 11:20, somewhere in that area. I won't be able to stay too long today. I gotta run to one of my rental properties today. Take care of a little work before some inspection stuff tomorrow. Oh, sorry, this screen's all jumbled. You guys are probably like, what the heck am I even looking at? Sorry, let me zoom in a little bit and clean this up. All right, so I'm going to try to, maybe walk you guys through this a little bit more too. All right, so why was it that in the start of the morning we were kind of bearish off that 30-minute VWAP? Because the trend of the market was down, right? So This was a counter bounce back to 30-minute VWAP resistance, then down. Market not strong enough just to take it down for forever. So it gets bought up. We start buying it up, buying it up, buying it up. Now we're coming through. Now we're starting to squeeze the market up a little more. And we're, you know what I mean? It's starting to get through levels that we were previously using for lower highs. Now grinding up and getting through a little bit. Either way, it's this stuff. I don't want to say that. Well, it basically repeats every day to some degree. It's not always the same. Does look a little different. Performs a little different, but you know, the general characteristics are usually about the same, which is just, you know, your pre-market was trading down, 30-minute VWAP is where it's at, retrace to, resistance at, or if it was market was going up, pull back to, VWAP, then bounce, if breakdown later down. So, yeah, market's moving exactly as it normally does. There's nothing taking place today that really isn't how this market usually works. If we look at the market internals, I would say a lot of today's market is built off the back of the FANG stock. So probably the recoveries going on in some of the FANG sell-off is really what's keeping the markets up. Other than that, there's really not a whole lot moving bullish. The NASDAQ is pretty much flat. The NASDAQ is a little down. The S&P is pretty much flat. The only thing kind of moving as of late was like these FANG names. But again, markets aren't really extremely bullish. They're not extremely bearish. But still, that being said, we're leaned on the long for momentum short-term trading right now. Remember, I said, don't even consider being long bias today. Not even one. Or swing long. Sorry. We're still not swing long. We haven't gotten to swing long metrics, but we have flipped kind of to intraday momentum up trading strategies, right? So I'm gonna flip to a different screen. Also, real quick, that is long target hit. What's the long target there? That's just one of the VWAPs. See how it's the top side of that box? So that would be us. So you see how pretty much once we broke through the 30-minute VWAP start, there was pretty much no struggle going up to the next side. All right. Either way, so that would be just one of the long targets completing, right? We said once you break the 30-minute, then momentum will be up and you get your target there. All right. Now the next long target will be the yellow box. So basically, when market accepts above here, then we go here. All right. If we start to get above the yellow, that could cause for a mega short squeeze. And if the mega short squeeze comes into effect today, our target is going to be, hold on. I would love to see the mega short squeeze because we don't get them very often, but when they do, they're so freaking cool. But I'm not banking on that. Not banking on it yet. So if we get the mega short squeeze, our target would be all the way back to 66850. So not planning on that. It's probably very unlikely to happen today, but we'll see. But, and actually our target somehow, oh, hold on, it's wrong. Hold on, we got to move this box up. Our target's actually adjusted a little bit there. So we're up a little bit. But yeah, I never really answered your question there, Mr. Sanchez. So I will flip to a different screen and then I'm going to walk you through this real quick. So we'll do this guy. We'll probably end up hitting that yellow long target box behind the scenes. So it's, I'm looking at a different chart. Well, same stuff, but different setup. But it will probably hit that target in a second. All right, so I'm going to walk you through this real quick. Let me add one more thing. Simple moving average. Settings. All right, so Yeah, so we'll go to the pre-market first. So this is every single day in the market I repeat this. Well, usually. But so what we'll do is we'll look at, so for this one, the move this morning was predominantly down. So if you look at the pre-market action, was it more bearish or more bullish? For me, it was, I mean, it really was kind of evenly matched, but either way, I would say the patterning of the market was more downsided, right? And then rolled down and you had like one little grind move up. So pattern is arguably more downside there. So I would look at something like this. I would anchor a volume weighted average price off the high, and I also look at them off the low. The low was used as support too as well. So it kind of goes both ways, but it can get a little bit more confusing when you're running two. So like watch us run two. So see, my brain works so fast and I don't want to confuse you, but it's always easiest if there is, easily identified trend. So this one's kind of a wedge, right? You can kind of see the market is more like wedged this morning. Either way, that being said, we look for action around the 30-minute and the 30-minute top and bottom volume weighted average price, right? So this is a VWAP anchored to the high. This is a VWAP anchored to the low, and we look for trading opportunities to and around those levels. Generally, what you're going to see when using this sort of system and strategy is you will see back tests, bounces, and breakouts, just like any support or resistance. So let's get into a 1 minute now. So look at the start of the action into the open. So disregard, not that you don't want to look at the pre-market, but let's just focus on what happened once the market opened. So once the market opened, where are our 30-minute VWAP locations? One is here, and the other one is the bottom of the day. So basically the initial high a day and the initial low a day are the two volume weighted average prices that arguably I and other people I teach would be focusing on, right? And how does that work, right? So the pre-market 30-minute VWAP, right? As the market comes into it, it's resistance. If it's above, it breaks up, right? How does the VWAP on the low side work? As the market sells into it, it's support. If it breaks down, then it breaks down, right? So that's how we use that. When the market is trading into said levels, we look to move it the opposite initially until we're proven wrong, right? So what happened? This morning, the pre-market SPY puts in a top. So what do? We anchor the VWAP down. The VWAP price is the green line on the high where I'm drawing. So the pre-market sells down, we anchor, we have VWAP coming down, then the market bounces back to our VWAP. We look for resistance. We sell it down. What does it do? It goes all the way down until it catches what? The 30-minute VWAP off the low. And then we support it. All right. And that's effectively how we've created the low of day in the market. Is by using a 30-minute VWAP strategy. Also, someone could have been looking at a 161 or a 50 fib, right? There's a million things that could be there, but as it relates to me on my stream, what I'm teaching you guys, that's relatively effective. It's not perfect, but essentially effective. That's what it is. We're taking the VWAPs and anchoring to the high or the low of the pre-market move that's been established for the day. Then using that price point into the open for the day. Can use it as resistance, support, and breakouts. All right. Another good psychological way of thinking of it is pre-market session is its own market. Then the regular trading hour session is a different market. And your opponents. So in the pre-market all morning, people are trading. And then we take the VWAPs and we figure out their volume weighted average price. And those are the pre-market session traders. And then when the market opens, we look to run the live trading hours to the volume weighted average prices of the people that were trading in the pre-market. So it's kind of like your opponents in a way. You kind of figure out where their volume's at, what they were doing in the early morning session, and then as we go into the real trading hours, we look to attack their levels. Alrighty. And the market is bouncing. Who would have thought? No one. Never. I don't know. So yeah, essentially we've just used the levels that were created from all of the trading participants from the morning, extrapolated their levels, and then used it to ping pong the market going into the open. So that's that. Now, what's the other part of it? Which this one's it can get a little more confusing, but either way, I'll still do it. Now, this strategy is kind of come and gone. I still use it, but it used to work far more effective, and then I taught it, and then it started not working as much, but it still holds meaning in my heart, and it helps me still. But it has lost some of its effectiveness, unfortunately. But that's okay, because strategies come and go all the time. But basically what we do is... this 50 SMA that you see on my screen, where I'm going to move the yellow line. So the 50 SMA right here. We've been bearish the market since then. All right, so on that day, I wasn't even actually looking at the market. So when I say we've been bearish, I, in turn, really wasn't bearish. But as far as the system and the strategy and the analysis and the bias, we would just say we've been bearish, right? Because that's the rules, that's the system. So though I ended the stream early on Friday and actually wasn't in front of my computer at the time of the breakdown, that's irrelevant because you're always bearish. The market is always neutral or bearish below the SMA, whether or not you are watching it happen or not. That's just the way the game works. So on Friday, we have been bearish. The market has been bearish since the break of the 50 SMA. Let's look at like a 5-minute chart real quick just to see where that's at. What's that look like, right? The 50 SMA is where I'm pointing to. There, that's where the market transitions bearish, below that SMA. Sometimes the market plays nice, sometimes not so nice. Either way, that's how it works. All right, so what are we going to do now? Now we're going to do... by the way, guys, we're still not swing long. We've just been trading momentum up for now. All right, so it's just short-term momentum long bias movement you've been seeing, but the market still hasn't transitioned to actual bullish. All right. So, yeah, what do we do next? We'll change this to a 30-minute. All right. And now we take a volume weighted average price, just like we did in the pre-market, and we're going to anchor to the candle that breaks down the 10 SMA and the 50 SMA. In this case, they overlap, right? So it looks like SPX and SPY are a little different. So what we would say is this is an expected retrace level in the bear market, right? So this VWAP is a bearish volume weighted average price that's anchored to the breakdown. So as the market breaks down and sells off, we would expect at some point we pop the market back to that VWAP, right? So that's how we would create a retrace target, right? So that's how over the past day, even though I wasn't streaming, right? Let's bring up, hold on, let's go to regular trading hours chart here. We're gonna add the VWAP there. All right. We just got to the SPY's VWAP. Again, that was one of the targets that I was talking about, right? So we're right there. So that would be the completion of that long target to the pre-market high, etc. So remember how I was saying if we go up, we're going to go towards the pre-market high in this yellow box, blah, blah, blah. That was the VWAP off this breakdown. Why would I suggest that as a target? Because we know that this is a bearish sell move. Bearish sell moves don't go straight down for forever. They do what? They retrace back up. That's normal market movement. Where do we retrace those moves many times? Well, when we're in a bearish market trading environment and we go down, a lot of times we'll bounce the market and bounce it to where? The volume weighted average price of what? Of the current selling move. It's a bear market. Everyone that's been trading down, their volume weighted average price is the blue. So what do? We run it back to the blue. Pretty straightforward stuff, right? So that's how we derived one of the reasons to watch for the market to bounce long, you know, kind of a little bit in this morning. And now we just did what? We just hit resistance right there. That's resistance over under. And I'm not picking this as resistance because it's the pre-market high, right? So that's another thing too, right? People might look at this or for someone who just started trading like today or like 3 weeks ago or whatever, like, oh, that's just a pre-market high tag. Like, you're just picking the pre-market high, and that's anyone can do that, right? Anyone can just pick a pre-market high. No, wrong. The pre-market high top was created because this is what? This right here, that pre-market top, that's the VWAP. So when the market bounced back here this morning and hit right there, that's the 30-minute resistance VWAP down, right? So the pre-market high today was created already from, and it could have been many things, but if you look at my screen, ready? That pre-market top today was created exactly, ready? I'm going to take this. That's our VWAP. I'm going to put a price line right on it, ready? Like that. Go into the pre-market session. Okay, we missed it by like 2 pennies. So today's pre-market high, if you ask me, was created because that is the 30-minute bearish volume weighted average price. There's the rejection. So we created today's pre-market high using a VWAP from a 30-minute off the current sell signal operation, etc. Right? So when I said we'll target back to the pre-market high, it's only because that's where the VWAP is. I could really care less about the pre-market high in the sense. It's just so happens that today's pre-market high is the price of the VWAP, right? So when we say, hey, we're going to target back up to the pre-market highs, it's really we're going for the VWAP. We could care less about the pre-market high in that case. So that right there, Mr. Sanchez, has how we also figured out this pre-market high as an important area today because it's a part of the 30-minute SMA strategy. Yeah, you get the point. So we are what? We are bearish below this point. That's it, right? We're bearish below that point. Why? Because that's a 30-minute VWAP resistance for the current sell signal. If we're going to do a great sell signal, that means this is going to hold resistance, whether it be exactly now or maybe, fights a little bit. This, if we were to hold a legit sell signal, we would be, you know what? I'm just going to run the risk to reward profile so I can shut up. So if this is going to turn into a great sell move, this is how we would generally, this is like the hopefulness, right, of a good sell move would be this. And that we have a short position basically from here and it goes all the way to there, arguably. That would be like best case scenario. Right? I actually got to look at one other thing here. Let me delete that. Hold on. Because if we end up doing... So let's go to SPY real quick. So hold on, I kind of jumped the gun on that one a bit. But if we actually did a legit sell move, even like halfway decent, that would be great. So this would actually be our target right now in the short, like that. That would be it, right? So, and why would it be like that? Because this is the 30-minute VWAP resistance, and look at the VWAP off this low. That would be the VWAP off the low. So just imagine for a second, right? Market breaks down. This is a retrace to resistance. And again, markets do whatever they want. But if we could hold resistance here in the sell move and the market actually goes lower, then we would run it down and I would target somewhere to that 30-minute VWAP. Because why? Because arguably that would be where the 30-minute would try to do what? Hold a higher low. And do I know if they're going to hold a higher low? No. But if they did, then my entire short would be ruined if we did that, right? Does it break down? I don't know. But either way, we'll just keep it positioned like that for the time being. Because generally that's the way that I would think of the markets for the time being is as long as markets below that VWAP, there's opportunity for the markets to get destroyed into a short. Only if we start to get above that would I start actually changing the bias. Okay. So that's how we'll watch the markets is from here down, bearish until stated otherwise. Off that, when I say that, it means off that VWAP, etc. Right? So from that VWAP, that's it. If we start to clear house above that, then, like I said, that's where things can get a little more dicey. But I don't know. I just don't see the markets triggering a massive squeeze like that. It just does. It seems too soon. It looks with the massive gap up. It's just not the right setup to really squeeze the market like that. I don't think so. Again, best case scenario is the market gets absolutely cooked from here in a short. Let's just fingers crossed the market's cool and wants to do a sell signal operation so that we can at least see that, and it would be awesome. like I said, yesterday or Friday's sell-off might have just been so aggressive, so much that markets don't want it. And again, the Trump China tweet thing, is that even legit? I don't know. So again, it's like the news and how the market moved, for what reasons it's moving, are they even legit? And we'll see. Also, we have to give the flip side of this too, because like we said before, I mean, I don't think we'll do the massive squeeze. I mean, they maybe do it over a day, but either way, our target. So remember this. This is another part of the strategy. When doing selling operations, right, and your 30-minute VWAP's where it's at. And when I say the best way to think of this is you know what? I'm going to use volume profile for this. This might help you guys rationalize what I'm saying even more if I use volume profile. So let me do that. It would have to be here. Wait, yeah. All right, there you go. Does that make sense now? Look at this. You see where the massive volume profile spike is at? And I think I actually did this one candle off. Hold on. Let me add it back. This candle. Ready? Watch. So you remember how we keep saying, hey guys, the VWAP's important. If we're above it, yeah, maybe we'll squeeze. But if we're below it, we can go into a great sell move. We're basically at the point of control. Right? We're at the point of control for the current selling operation. You see how all the volume is peaked right there. We're literally in, this is the game, right? All of what you're seeing, all of this volume, right, is being tracked from that high, which is essentially the breakdown, right? Remember, world's ending, world's ending, world's ending, world's ending. This is the key volume weighted average price of the world is ending move. If the world is to end, then we're supposed to be below and staying below. Okay? If the world isn't ending, then you're going to go back above and you squeeze. Why? Because this is where all of the volume is compressed from the last day of selling. All right? So whenever you hear me say 30-minute sell signal, VWAP, blah, 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 it really just means we're at like the point of control for the current selling operation. If it was a buying, it could be same thing goes if it was a long, right? If we reverse this chart and put it into a long, it would be the same thing. It would be, hey guys, we're at the point of support control. If the bulls are strong enough, they'll keep it, you know. So right now we're at the volume point, you know, of our sell move, right? So that's, you know, I just love it. I just love it. Just absolutely love it. Volume profile and volume weighted average price are not exactly the same. But, you know, when you're using a volume weighted average price along with volume profile and you're using the same time frame and anchoring to the same candle, you're going to get relatively close results, right? If you look at the VPOC, or the highest point of volume here, it would be right there, whereas the VWAP's a little higher than that. So just ultimately, yeah, so that's that. They can be a little different. There's some nuances there. Would this market just get, I just hope this market gets clapped, because we haven't had a great sell move in a little bit. And, you know, we don't get the two-step Magoo sells too often. So that would be great if we could do a little bit of that. Now, so far, the stocks in the market are not moving in a way that's super bearish, but that could change. Again, thank you guys for tuning in. I do appreciate you coming and hanging out with me today. Like I said, I do really enjoy being here, and I do really enjoy market analysis, providing technical analysis, and arguably things that actually kind of work. in the market. You know, we're not. Hopefully, you know, I hope that when you guys come in and you tune into the stream, it's not, you know, well, markets could do that, and then maybe they do this, and you know, hopefully you guys come and actually find value being here, and hopefully we do things relatively good enough that you see the value in it, I guess. But yeah, so that's it. We're just, like I said, you're just kind of bearish off that VWAP because all of the stuff we explained over the past hour, I guess, 30 minutes. Hey, Lego baby. Oh my goodness, we're about to hit a little quick spanky. Sorry, I'm doing that weird thing where I talk to myself. Medi Shea, have a good one, brother. Generally, Mr. Sanchez, we usually start around like 9 a.m. Eastern time. Sometimes a little before, if maybe a little after. Like, you know, last week on Friday I hopped on like 10 minutes late. I kind of lost track of time. But generally 9 a.m., maybe a little before that. Oh my goodness, the market is having resistance, guys. It's crazy. Oh man, I'm such a nerd sometimes. But yeah, so again, you guys can see here what's happening. Remember we said earlier, I'm like, well, if the market's gonna sell a little bit, you kind of need the FANG, the Magnificent Seven, to give up. So you can see here, look at the screen I'm circling on. You can see there's a couple red candles. Usually, and again, it's not going to look huge on these screens, but there's a lot going on there. So you can see the Magnificent Seven stocks are giving up, but I don't know which one. So let's go take a peek. So we'll go down our list. So Apple's starting to sell. Nvidia's starting to sell. Microsoft's selling. Google selling. UPS, not really, but that's not a part of the FANG. Either way, Tesla selling, Amazon kind of selling there a little bit, Netflix not selling, Facebook, Meta starting to a bit, AMD selling. So now it's kind of about if Amazon starts to sell a bit, if Netflix gives up some, and maybe more of Google. Yeah, really Amazon, Netflix could be two big ones. What about, let's see, LLY selling, TSM. TSM gives up, that'd be kind of big. AVGO had that news today. It might not give up much. UNP down. Visa down. JPM starting to go down. Procter & Gamble down. Honeywell down. So... Aldo, it's TradingView, so we're on it right now. I'm just gonna text. I'm gonna type into chat for you. So yeah, it's all in TradingView, market forecast tool section, and so that's right there. I was in chat for you. How do you set it up? You just you once you're on the platform, it's super easy. You just click it and just start clicking candles, and you'll figure it out. There's only like a couple different settings. To keep it simple, you just anchor to the high or you anchor to the low. That's pretty much it. There's tons of videos on the internet about anchor VWAPs and how you could set it up. The way I set it up is no different than the generic settings of the VWAP. We're not doing anything special with it. It's just mainly comes down to where you pick to anchor in the stock market. But yeah, and there's tons of videos on how you can set it up if you're struggling with that. But it's on TradingView. Oh man. What's going on in the markets today, guys? I don't know, but I have zero clue what's going on. That's why I got to tune into CNBC every day, because without them, I would just be lost. You know what I mean? I'm just a lost little puppy, just walking around the stock market, just looking for a bone, you know. The best possible news cycle today would be news organizations saying that the market, is recovering, and then we just destroy it and sell it all the way down today. That would be magnificent. Fingers crossed, baby. Fingers crossed. Why? Because it will just look great on the YouTube stream for everyone. And then the play will be fun. Because there would be nothing better than just gapping this market up huge overnight, like we did, and then just ramming a sell move down everyone's throat. That would be lit. Oh yeah, I meant to go to Google, see what the Matrix is telling us about stock markets today. Investor Business Daily, stock market today. The Dow jumps 400 points on Trump tariff comments. Dow and S&P 500, NASDAQ stage comeback. So Yahoo Finance is already positioning themselves to be a complete idiot today. So I just pray that we clap the market, just because it would just be hilarious to come back and look at Yahoo Finance's article. The market stages a comeback today as Trump's temper or whatever slows. Like, okay, good one, Yahoo. Watch this. Just like George Bush. Now watch me hit this drive. Yeah, so basically, you're about to get pwned, Yahoo, like a noob. Dow Jones 400 points as Trump post eases concerns. So get this. CNBC somehow figured out that Trump's post is easing concerns around the United States-China trade something. You're going to be walking back that statement pretty quick there, champ. JP Morgan tells clients to buy Friday's stock market dip. Yeah, well, your clients, well, if they sold into the overnight pop, they did well, but they're about to get clapped there, kid. You told... We'll see, JP. We'll see, brother. Actually, JP might be onto something there. That's actually probably a decent one, because if they said buy the dip on Friday, well, it depends, because it dipped a lot. So unless you told them to buy right at the end of the day close, then you just basically whacked your entire client base. That's great. What else do we got in here? Oh. Yahoo selling that the market's got a comeback coming. The Dow rally after Trump softens China threat. So, all the basics. All the basics. Have a good one. Thanks, Aldo. Appreciate that, big guy. Morning appointment. Upvote for support, too. Yeah, I appreciate that. Anyways, you guys, or you have a good one, Mr. Franchise. Or Franchise, Mr. Sanchez. Franchise. What's going on with Bitcoin? I gotta look at Bitcoin, because I haven't really put much thought into where the price is gonna go if we end up kind of breaking down some, but let me take a peek at this. Yeah, so those right there, those are all of our current sell targets on the market. And our current, hold on one second. Yep, so basically those are all the important zones for now. So for me, it pretty much whatever is in between here, I don't care. It's like all of this, don't care, don't care, don't care. Market's either going here or into these bones right there. That's really all I care about. Everything in between right now, where those zones are at, don't even matter. So, yeah, it's pretty much my. I mean, I kind of do expect we're going to sell down into these zones down here, personally. Whether it be off this low or whether it come up, hit some resistance, then we try. I'll only change bias back to long once we pretty much break above here. All right, sorry about that. I am back on here, ladies and gentlemen. Oh yeah, I'm gonna adjust this a little bit so it's actually accurate. So that's where you'd want, I mean, anywhere in here, and then obviously your stop would be above there. So as far as that kind of like sell move off of that high, best case scenario, I mean, it depends on how you would have done it. So I mean, it's down, I mean, in RR of 1 to 8. It could be, you know, if you want to do a 1 to 2, it'd be up to here, right? So, but either way, we'll take that off. Doesn't really matter. Or I mean, we'll keep it on. Why not? Like that, sure. And then a wait, hold on. Let's move this over like that. All right, cool. And now we'll do a potential other trade here when it maybe is triggered. So then this would be, or is that long or short? I don't know. That is long. And then the vice versa trade would be like that. This one obviously not triggered yet, but that would be, those are your, arguably the two kind of trade scenarios around that 30-minute VWAP, which is obviously if market maintains below, market stays bearish for the VWAP purposes. if we start to break above this VWAP, we'll start taking out the volume, or VPOC, and then 30-minute VWAP. Excuse me. So yeah, it's just how the market works, right? You have potential longs up to upper distribution levels here, which are triggered above this area. So then that would be a long setup trade there. We're still working the resistance at the VWAP. We've tried it multiple times. Hasn't been strong enough to fully run the market down. Again, you really shouldn't be surprised, though, if you're looking at market internals. Look at the market internals. The selling has stopped on a lot of the Magnificent Seven. There's not enough selling on the FANG. There's just not enough selling in the markets to keep things running down for the time being. All right, well, let's excuse me. While the market does whatever it's going to do next, which again, for me, as far as like next big market movements, all of the little stuff in between, I mean, yeah, if you guys want to scalp it, trade it, by all means. For me, the next important move for the market is going, when I say important, like next thing that I think is valuable would be the market's triggering a breakout of the volume weighted average price or the sell signal VWAP. That would be that's the next move I would like to see, arguably, whether that be today or whether it's into tomorrow, or if they manipulate the market in after hours and do a breakout. That it's all just whenever the market wants it. That's arguably the next cool move that I see in the market, which would be, again, if we break up, is a move to the prices of about like almost 668 or so in the market. Let me double check where the 50 SMA is at too. So that's all the way up there. So yeah. Oh, snap. I kind of forgot, to be honest, because... Hold on. Yeah, SPX already hit the sell signal VWAP, so we would watch SPX first to do its upper distribution move. So I kind of made a mistake in that regard. It's not wrong, just a little bit of missing information there. So SPX is already above its sell signal VWAP. So this one arguably would be working at a target of there. So yeah, basically as long as SPX stays over this, then the risk to reward potential is up to there. And or maybe here to here. And, well, you can do whatever you can do. I don't, the stop, I'm not going to just, I mean, I'll just put them at the lows, but it's all based off of what you want to do. Your risk to reward. I'm just looking at where the markets could arguably go to, right? Which is obviously if the markets maintain VWAPs, then we'll be looking into upper distributions or 50 SMA. 50 SMA. So, again, this can all change pretty quickly, but. And like I said, this is where it gets. This is where using two markets might confuse some. So if you look at SPX, right, you'll see that we're above said level. But if you look at SPY, we're below, right? So this is where I use both of these markets, because people pay attention to both SPX and SPY. So if you look at the SPY, you'll see that the market is currently below said levels, right? We're currently trading below that that VWAP, right? But if you look at SPX, SPX is currently trading above, right? So it's kind of one of those things where we still need SPY, right? So arguably the SPX could be working on it, but we really need, in this case, SPY to break. Or else what you're seeing on SPX doesn't even matter. Just the fact that SPX is over this VWAP, like, cool, that's great, but you would really need the SPY to break out, right? Or else all of this BCN, it's all just, yeah. So, anyways, keep that in mind too when you're using two different markets. But we do use SPX and SPY as like a combo to read markets as well. But it can confuse at times as well. Oh, well, anyways, good morning or happy Monday to you guys. Hopefully everyone had a good weekend. All right, again, market, look at that. You see what just happened? Nothing crazy, but, well, so look at this. So I zoomed in on the FANG ticker here. So I'll give everyone a second to get to my screen. I won't move too fast. That's actually something I got to get better at. That's what we, like some people are looking at charts and, just because you say something, I'll do better to take my time and sit on a screen, wait for you guys to get there. So hopefully you've had the time to tune back into the stream and you're looking at the magnificent ticker. This is Apple, Microsoft, a bunch of them combined. But anyways, you can see your just gotten couple red candles here. So on your magnificent ticker symbol, whatever you want to call it, you got a couple red candles there. So just those two red candles, look at those two candles there. Look at arguably what they did to the market. So I'll go to SPY here. We'll go on a 1 minute. Those are 1 minute candles, right? So if you look at the FANG, let me scroll this up, move this over. All right, so you had couple red here and then instant red there. So you can see, I mean, a lot of times when you get, negative movement across your big stocks like that, they'll have almost immediate repercussions for the market, right? So it's something that you can look at and be like, well, clearly if these aren't moving negative, the market's probably not moving negative. You know what I mean? So anyways, just want to update on a little bit of movement you're seeing there. Again, guys, we're still on the negative side of this market trend. We haven't flipped back to positive. It doesn't mean that we won't. All right. Or wait, yeah. Just we're just on the negative side of trend, and we're on the negative side of the volume weighted average price of the sell move. Right. So let's just make sure that we're categorizing our market movements properly, which is what? So this whole move down, and I'm going to try to, actually I got a good idea. We're going to do this. We're going to make this, hold on. This is going to be fun. Our streams might just be getting better and better as the days goes on. Kind of getting back in the flow of streaming and, trying to keep things tidy and teaching. And so let's see, we should be able to do... What am I doing? Brain farting. That's what. I just want a clear background. Oh, perfect. There we go. All right, so this move, I don't know how far that went down, but either way. So this is what we would categorize as a breakdown bearish sell program. Okay. We'll move this over a little bit. Okay. Now, we would categorize everything that's taking place here, and I'm going to change the color of that. Settings. I'm going to change this one to like yellow. Sure. This would be the oversold bounce within the bearish sell program. Sorry, I'm trying to bearish. Okay, and then where we're currently at, we could do another one like this. Mirror. We go like that. And we could be like, this guy is our, we'll do a baby blue. This guy is our current VWAP of sell program. Let's extend that over. Oh, wait. Come on, text update. There we go. Well, you can't really see that one. That's not good. We're just gonna have to. What is current sell? Current VWAP of sell program. That's better. And then you guys are just gonna have to figure out how that works soon, though, because I can't. So that's pretty much everything that's happened in the market where we're at. We had a breakdown yesterday or Friday. Sell program. Leading into Monday, we have bounced the oversold market, but the bounce of the oversold market is still remaining below the current breakdown bearish selling program's volume weighted average price. So we have not yet flipped the volume of this sell move. When I say we haven't flipped the volume, I mean like when I say the like the important stuff, right? Little 1 minute traders, they get flipped and dipped, right? But in terms of like the big move, right? When markets really transition, we haven't taken that volume out. So you can think of it this way. The volume that controls this selling program hasn't been squeezed out yet, all right? That's probably the most effective way I've ever taught that or said that. The volume that controls the current bearish market has not been squeezed out yet. So you can just basically say the guy that has his finger on the button for the stock market, he's still in bearish. Or we haven't quite flipped him long, right? And we really just call that the system. So AKA the system is still not bullish. I know the whole bounce overnight was awesome. It was huge. You went to Google. You're watching CNBC this morning. You told you the market is coming back. We're on the comeback, folks. That's because they don't understand anything half the time. So, again, we're just at a situation where we have started a selling program last week. The market has had a huge bounce over the weekend into Monday. We have had taken an oversold, bearish trading environment. We've bounced it back to resistance, essentially. Is that all making sense, me friends? Obviously, if you guys look at your magnificent ticker, it's going down. What's happening to the market? It's going down. So confusing. But Anna Paulson and Jerome Powell, and then the jobs number with 8.92, unemployment at 3%, but there's going to be $197 billion raised for tariffs. And then the tariffs are going to go to the Treasury. And then the Treasury is going to print this. But then we're going to end the Ukraine war. But then after the Ukraine war is ended, I promise we will start rebuilding the highways here with the taxes. Because OpenAI, AI will... Wait, what? No. The market just entered a bearish selling program yesterday. We are bouncing the market. It just hasn't flipped bullish. Okay? Again, don't get too much into the craziness of the news and everything around you. Those numbers are going to change day in and day out. But Jerome was wearing a green tie. He coughed 3 times and scratched his crotch once. That was supposed to be the signal for the markets to go up. I was almost sure of it till I blew my account. All right. But yeah, so now that we already know everything that's going on with the market, because we've mapped it off pretty darn good, let's go just screw around in the penny stock world and see if there's anything moving there that could be fun to trade or talk of and giggle about. Let's see. So I'm just going to do a quick run through here. If something is at support or looks cool, we can talk about it. If not, then meh. Nah. TAOX. Actually. That one's decent. That's like okay. So, I'm giving you guys the fair warning. TAOX. It's like, it's okay. Meh. STI. That's interesting. Well, we're late. Figures. I mean, obviously, you got to be in this morning. This morning at, what time was that? I don't even know. Hold on. Okay, thank you. Actually, this long move started a couple days ago, but they just put the buy algorithm on it today, or released news on it today is all. PMAX, too late for that one. That buy move started a couple days back on 10/6. So that one's already meh. NVA. Buy move started last week, Thursday. So that one's too late. NDRA. No. LGO. No. NAMM. This could actually be interesting. Yep, I still use standard deviation. You can see it's actually on this screen right here. I have one here. I got some on some other screens. Yep, so it's right there. This one. This one is actually interesting. I'm going to follow this one for a couple days, just in case. NAMM. I don't know if they got news. I don't know what. I don't know if it's a dud. I don't know if it's going to be good, but to me it's getting, I don't know. Do they have news? I don't know. Let's see. No. Wait, 10/9? That was a couple days ago. Reaffirms expansion collaboration. Feasibility study to advance expansion something. NAM minerals 3.5. Yeah, I don't know. But it definitely raises the question, why is the stock seeing so much activity today and it's got no news? Maybe there's somewhere other than, there might be news somewhere other than Thinkorswim, but, you know, generally speaking, if there's news on it, Thinkorswim's going to have it at some point. So far today, I mean, it's 11 o'clock. There's no news on the stock, but it's got a whole lot of volume and activity. It just, I mean, in theory, it started an uptrend today, but it's also been chopping SMAs for a couple weeks now. So, granted, it started an uptrend multiple times over the past couple weeks, but this is definitely raising my eyebrow. So, gonna follow NAMM for the next couple days. Might even buy some at some point. Don't know, but it is interesting. So, maybe watch that. LGO, what's this one? Too late. FSI. Down. No. Fiend. It's like Astro Worlds. Travis Scott. Fiend. ELBM. too late. But that was, well, actually, well, it started an uptrend today on the 30. It's been uptrending the 4 hour. So we should have been long this morning if you wanted that play, arguably. So kind of late. Again, you're almost always going to be late when it comes to most stocks and most penny stocks as it relates to this system. It doesn't happen very often that you just scroll through something and find something worth buying. You usually got to be up early in the morning for the penny stocks to know which ones just start uptrends. Same thing with stocks too. But yeah, that NAMM, that's kind of interesting. Oh my gosh, guys, the market's going down. That's crazy. That's crazy, though. That is crazy. Oh, you know what? I should. Hold on. I don't know what I'm doing here. I don't know why it's doing that. What is that? I should be. I don't have the targets on this pullback mapped off good enough, I don't think. So this would be one right there. That would be one. I'll change this to, I don't know, purple? Sure. That's kind of weird. We'll keep it yellow. Oh, the yellow looks weird too. Orange? Sure, orange. Let me look at this SPY. 65507. That is 6. Okay, 65507 is another one. So 655. Is that right? Yeah, that's right. 65507. 65507. And then, what about the ES? Come on, come on, come on. Yes, it's overnight. Wait a second. Okay. So as wide as that zone is, it really is, but these would basically be the current targets of the sell move. That orange box. So yeah, so this would be T1 to T2, arguably. There might even be a T3 in there somewhere, but that would be like T1, T2 of that sell move. Let's get it, team. Come on, market makers. I know you guys watch the stream. Just move it to the T1, T2. What is 6? What is that? 6, 6, 6, 6, 5, 6, 2, 6. How did I get that wrong? Hold up, something right. 6, 5, 6, 5, 5. That's that guy. There's that. Then there's like 6, 5, 6, 2, 8. Yeah, I don't know how I did that wrong earlier. Silly. Oh man. Baby, you should. All right, ladies and gentlemen, the SPY is down near the low of the day. Does it break down? I have no clue. I hope so, because then that would just make for a far more fun day. QQQ pretty much sitting at the low of day. So we're getting close to that low of day area. If we can start taking out low of day, you know, maybe buyers stop out from earlier today and markets go lower, that would be cool. Still got to do that though. So if we do take out the low of day and we start running this sell move, then there's no doubt in my mind we go down to T1, T2. It's really just a matter of the selling pressure picking up. But yeah, I mean, I'm pretty confident we go get T1, T2 with a good low-a-day break, and then whatever else picking up volume and volatility. It shouldn't be too hard, to be honest, I don't think. Then again, like I said, I don't control the market. The market just generally moves to and from price points on the chart, but it's all somebody else controls that stuff. I don't know. I don't know who. Or maybe it's just all of us. Who knows, really? But at the end of the day, if we can break down low a day, T1, T2, very obtainable in my opinion. It's a matter of breaking down, actually, though. The SPY is also trading down towards and into this 30-minute 10 SMA, which is very common. So that's kind of like another little piece to the puzzle there, is as the market and 10 SMA here catch up around like 659.38. That's another thing we're following. So if I go into, say, a 1 minute here, this is our 10 SMA on the 30-minute, which obviously we need this to break down as well, but that's just like another little random algorithm level in the way. So 10 SMA on the 30-minute is right there. So that's a short-term SMA. So basically it just means this is, as the markets come down into, arguably could be used as a little support, or arguably, there's no support, and then we go like that. So that's just, again, one of those things, is that we got that 10 SMA right here. We haven't broken it down yet, and this would be more of a first tag metric, right? So if you look at, I'm trying to find it here, 1 second. Or did I, wait, hold on. Was it the wrong time frame? Hold on, I was looking at the wrong time frame there. Disregard that. Whatever I just said is wrong. I was on the wrong time frame. It's actually lower. That's what I thought. I'm like, that doesn't make sense. That's right there. So this is, it's down there. So it's basically the T1 still. All right, cool. That's what I was saying. Like, when did I do that wrong? But no. So we'll zoom. We'll go back to like a 5 minute or something. There we go. I know we haven't done much of it today, but obviously behind the scenes, you guys already know what's going on, right? So what's happening, right? Look at this 5 minute chart. So if we anchor the VWAP on the 5 minute here, settings low, high, right? And to the breakdown, same jam, right? Now let's go to a 1 minute. So what's going on right now? The market is simply just retracing volume weighted average prices from the current move, right? So the market's been what, going down, high, previous high there. We're just testing volume weight. So the market's just recycling on some of the lower time frames and bouncing up right now, right? It's pretty much what's going on. And these T1, like the T1 and the T2 down here, those are targets based off of larger time frames, right? So we've essentially used larger time frame resistance for the high a day. We want to see the markets down to T1, T2. And while they try to do that, you have all the smaller trends in between that are just cycling, right? Again, our stop would be if the market fails to remain below trend that we like, and so on and so forth. Again, we're looking at the market internals here. Again, things aren't extremely bearish. They're just kind of slow grind down for the moment. Yeah, I'll bring up the market internals real fast just so you guys can take a peek at that if you want. Just look at those. Go look at the market. You should get a pretty good visualization of what's going on. Most of what's moving the market is still the FANG Magnificent 7. Okay, how much fun? So again, like the way that we're reading this, right, is let me draw it on the screen for you, right? So this is down. This is an oversold bounce back to resistance. This market is arguably, well, we're trying to get it to pull down to T1, T2, where the market could arguably higher low. If no higher lows were found, then the market would drop out. And we'll only look for a full-fledged reversal long sort of idea. Not even, that's not entirely true, but just in this regard, we would only really be like long bias, kind of looking for like that breakout pushing momentum if we're above the current resistance over under. Okay, I know that's a lot of drawings there, but that's pretty much it. We sold the market down, we bounced it up, we've hit resistance, we're pulling it back, seeking a potential higher low or further breakdown. We're not looking for momentum breaking out running long. Okay, so I'm going to eliminate the top stuff and we will just do it like that. So this is pretty much what we're trying to do. Question mark. Now, another thing to mention, all right, we can sit here and we can draw cute patterns and pictures all day, but at the end of the day, what it always is going to come down to is how is the market actually moving behind the scenes. Behind the scenes right now, we don't have anything moving bearish. Everything's moving bullish in the immediate, right? If you look at these here, those are up, those are up, up, up. So over the past 10, 15, 20 minutes, every single market's been putting in long presses, right? So obviously we would not expect what? Markets to be selling down in the immediate, right? Does the market stay going long? I don't know. Maybe, right? It just depends. Do the market internals change or do they not change, right? So, but the key levels are still the same, right? So whatever, regardless of what the market internals are doing in the immediate, the levels are still the same, right? That we're looking at on these markets. And so far, I can already say, the current kind of sell move doesn't quite have that crazy strength just to drive prices down right away. Then again, as is with most times, right? Remember that selling a market down is harder than forcing the market to go up because generally speaking, markets naturally go up. So do always remember that when we're talking about sell signals and sell moves, they don't play out as good or as often as good buy moves. And that's again because markets naturally go up more than they go down. All right, well, I'm probably going to call it for the day. I can hear my brothers here. We're going to get ready to run out to, again, one of my properties. Got some stuff to take care of. But before I go, let's just kind of make sure everyone knows what's up. Basically, if at any point today or like going into tomorrow during the after hours, they love to manipulate markets in after hours, very common. But ultimately, we are paying most attention to the 30-minute resistance over under. If we start to get above that, we will then look for kind of like a reverse. I don't call it reversal. It's more of a squeeze in a bearish market, right? So we're going to be looking to squeeze the market up to like 668. Just know that $668 has been a long target since this morning pre-market. How? Why? Because that is, I'm going to change the screen here real quick. Because that's our 30-minute volume weighted average price. This chart is not populating for a second. I don't know what's going on. That's cool. I guess there's just absolutely nothing on this chart now. That doesn't make any sense, but either way. So 668 has been a long target since this morning. And when I say long target, meaning input span multiplier. There you go. All right. Well, it's actually 667.57, but this right here, this upper distribution level, that's our long target for when the market breaks out the volume weighted average price. It just hasn't triggered yet, okay? So just know, we've always been looking at a long to 668 just when the market actually breaks out and starts really going for it, okay? Because otherwise, what? When the market's below the VWAP, you can still have resistance as you saw and continue the sell move. So far this morning, we, again, bounced the market back to resistance. There has not been enough collective selling in the market to drive a good sell move, but we also haven't had enough buying to break out the volume weighted average price that would trigger kind of a squeeze pop, right? So all we've had this morning was a bounce to resistance and a pullback below resistance. Now getting bought up a little bit. If we can eventually break it out, we're going to target 668. Believe it or don't believe it. But I'll be here to keep streaming it. But I do got to run today, so I do appreciate you guys tuning in very much. I hope you guys have a blessed rest of your day and week, and I will catch you guys back tomorrow morning. Cheers.